I mean, the beauty is that during the break, I didn't watch any of those cable shows with all the BS that was coming from certain quarters about how this was going to be cataclysmic. Could we avoid it? Blah, blah, blah. Look, there's only the only real implications that were even on the table of being discussed in terms of the economy, it seems to me, with the unemployment insurance. And that's the only thing that would have been in the first week that would have made a difference. Everything else was sort of backloaded for either later in the year or not until people file their taxes. And as far as these, the wind energy subsidies, yeah, I guess. Of course, there was a lot more tax breaks, and we'll go through that in the better half of the program. For corporations that, I'm sorry, I don't think that our economy is the health of our economy is a function of Hollywood getting some tax breaks like they did, or NASCAR. If you build a racetrack, you get a tax break. I just don't think that's where the money was that's going to be generating the cash. I don't buy that. Forgive me for being so cynical. I've already gone back on that resolution anyways. I also went back on my resolution about cookies. I tried to start a diet on the 31st before we went and had dinner at some friend's house, and said, I'm going to start right now, no cookies. So I can have cake. I just can't have cookies.
Oh, that's it? There's just no cookies. There's
just
no
else. Cookies. I'm going to start small. Didn't make it. Didn't do it. Couldn't do it because they had some really nice cookies that I had to... But I don't think that the tax breaks, huge tax breaks for Goldman Sachs, I don't think that's going to really. So I'm a little bit. I think so much with this was kabuki theater. There was a lot of it. I really do think that, look, there were reporters who have been reporting on multiple occasions. We heard there are deals that are going down, deals that were being reported that were actually going down, and. If you don't think that these reporters, and Ryan Grimm is not one of them, in my estimation, and it's a function of access, and it's a function of where these people see their career trajectories. If you don't think that for some of these reporters, and some that we perceive as center-left or centrists or whatever, if you don't think that there was some value for these reporters to play up the implications of this, and this has been a problem that the left has had for an extended period of time, in my estimation, or those who self-identify, at least, as a center-left or whatever it is that these policy intricacies become the entirety of everything. Because the fact of the matter is, to divorce the policy implications of a certain measure or this or that measure and look at it in a vacuum without the notion of politics is to delude yourself, and B, also to get the policy wrong. Because policy is only as good as the outcomes it produces. And if you institute policy A, or measure scientifically only that policy A in a vacuum is going to provide for a better outcome, but ignore the implications and the clear implications and the reality that imposing policy A at this juncture will create policy B inevitably, and policy B will provide for worse outcomes than if you never instituted policy A, then you're deluding yourself. This is Thomas Friedman's like, well, I support the invasion of Iraq, but not for the reasons why the Bush administration is doing it, but I still support the thing. Well, you know what? You're an idiot then. And a lot of these policy people, listen, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. And that also means that you have to say, this nail is really important that it be sunk in. And in fact, if this nail's not sunk in, It's gonna be a cataclysm. There is value for a lot of these types of people in creating drama around things just by their very nature. I mean, that's why you hear this narrative of Washington can't get along. They can't move forward if we don't have a functioning government. No, we have a functioning government. Right now, it just functions in the way that it's supposed to based upon the way that people have elected people. And so, I don't know. Be skeptical of this stuff. And I don't, from a liberal perspective, this is not a disaster, but that's like saying, I'm rolling down. There's a metaphor here, but I for the life of me, I can't figure it out because I get a head cold. But it basically, all that happened is we took another route, and the potential waterfall is still, half a mile down the road or down the river. It's just that we have elongated the route to that waterfall. We haven't avoided it. Or the cliff, if you want to say. But for me, the cliff really is about cutting Medicare and Social Security.
I listened to the BBC business podcast, and every day during this past couple of weeks, they would have guys on from Wall Street and other kind of financial analyst types, and almost always none of them were nowhere near as freaked out or as worried about this thing as the people that you would see on cable.
Of course not.
They're all like, the market's factored it in. Hopefully they'll figure it out, blah, blah, blah. And these are the people.
What markets are we talking about? I mean, honestly, what markets are we talking about? We're seeing corporate profits still at basically near records, if not records. The stock market is completely rebounded, and we still have 12 million Americans out of work. This obsession with the markets. I don't even know what markets they're talking about. Is going to do what? We need jobs. I mean, listen, I don't care. At the end of the day, the difference between the 250,000 and the 450,000 is only relevant to the extent that the lack of revenue that is that is the revenue that is lost in between those two cutoff points is used as an excuse to cut social programs down the road. So use that leverage now to put a dent in things like sequestration. I don't know. We will see going forward in the future.